This is Dr. Ed Hoskins welcoming you to Lessons in Discipleship, a series designed to help new believers become established in their Christian faith. Today's lesson is an overview of the Bible. First, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a retired physician who spent 34 years in family medicine and student health. I became a Christian 50 years ago and was helped early in my faith by the Navigators, an international, non-denominational Christian organization whose stated goal is to know Christ and to make him known. I have been on associate staff with that organization since 1980. Lessons in Discipleship is a compilation of what I learned from the Bible and under the guidance of the Navigators. What I learned then, I now pass on to you. Today's session, an overview of the Bible. Let's get started. The Bible is not merely a single book. It is an anthology, a treasure trove of 66 books written down by 40 different people over 1,500 years. The Old Testament was written in ancient Hebrew script. The New Testament was almost entirely written in Greek, with the exception of Matthew and Hebrews, which may have been in Aramaic and later translated by someone like Luke, the physician, into Greek. Although many different people wrote down the Bible, they were all inspired by a single individual, the God of the universe. As a result, the entire Bible has one unique theme. Let's examine that theme more closely. The Bible's unique theme may be summarized as follows. It tells the story of creation. God's initial creation was perfect, and it was devastated by sin at mankind's choice through the first man, Adam. Adam chose to disobey God's command and listen to Satan. This resulted in a perpetual curse placed on all creation and all life. From the very first God planned to send a special person to rectify, to correct, and eliminate that curse when he promised in Genesis 3:15, "And I will put enmity between you, Satan, and the woman, Eve, and between your offspring and hers. He, Jesus the Messiah, will crush your head, and you, Satan, will bruise his heel." One day, the world and universe as we know it will end through fire. Everyone will face the day of judgment before the throne of God. Hundreds of years before Christ, his coming was foretold in the Bible. The rest of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, chronicles this unique single theme which can be summarized in 4 parts. First, the promised Messiah King has come in the person of Jesus of Nazareth. Second, the Messiah King came to proclaim good news of freedom from sin and to make everything new. Third, Jesus, the promised Messiah King, would be God's suffering servant. You can see Isaiah 53 for one example. This suffering servant would be put to death in our place on the cross. He would rise again from the dead 3 days later, conquering sin and death. Fourth, entrance into God's kingdom is by invitation only. It is entered by surrendering to Jesus as Master and Lord. Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved, as it says in Romans 10. Broadly, the Bible is divided into 2 portions. The Old Testament. The Testament also means covenant or agreement. The Old Testament is a series of 39 books from Genesis through Malachi, and the New Testament, which is the last 27 books from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John up through the end of the book of Revelation. A look at the Old Testament, total of 39 books. First, it has 17 books of history: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. That part's called the Torah. It was written down by Moses. That's followed by Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther. These books begin with creation, progress through Adam, Cain and Abel, Noah, Abraham, Moses, King David, his son Solomon, go all up through the children of Israel when they were carried away to Babylon in the time of Nehemiah. Second, there are 5 books of wisdom: Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon. Finally, it ends with 17 books of prophecy: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, followed by Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Here's a timeline of the Old Testament through associated prophets, which may be useful. Adam and Eve is approximately 4,000 years before the time of Christ. Cain and Abel took place within the first 100 years of Adam's life. Noah, at the time of the flood, was approximately 2,500 years BC. Noah was a direct descendant of Adam. He was also the grandson of Methuselah. Job is probably before the time of Abraham, was approximately 2,100 years BC. Abraham, about 400 years after the time of Noah, or 2,100 BC, was just before the great King Hammurabi of the first Babylonian dynasty. Abraham was the 10th generation down as a direct descendant of Noah. Joseph was the great-grandson of Abraham through Isaac and 11th son of Jacob. He was born about 1900 BC, was sold into slavery in Egypt by his jealous brothers when he was 17. During Egypt's Middle Kingdom period, Joseph may have served under the pharaoh named Sesostris III. That's near the end of the 12th Egyptian dynasty. Moses lived 4 centuries after Joseph. His departure from Egypt with the children of Israel, the Exodus, took place around 1446 BC, was probably during the rule of Amenhotep II, the 7th pharaoh of the 18th dynasty during Egypt's Middle Kingdom period. David and Solomon, approximately 1000 BC. Jonah was sent by God to Nineveh, and that was 750 years BC, near Mosul in southern Iraq. Zechariah, John the Baptist, and Jesus were born around 4 BC. Now, this is not exactly, we don't say 0 BC because it has to do with changes in our modern Gregorian calendar, but scientists best today believe that Jesus was born about 4 BC. Here's a look at the New Testament, a total of 27 books. There's 5 books of history. The 4 Gospels, it's the life of Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, with the book of Acts, which are really the acts of what happened in the early church up to the 1st century AD. They're followed by 21 letters from the followers of Jesus to the early churches. Letters of Paul, Peter, John, Jude, Timothy, James, Titus, and Philemon. Romans, 1st, 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st, 2nd Timothy, Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st, 2nd Peter, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and Jude. Finally, the New Testament ends with a single book of prophecy, the book of Revelations. It tells the very end times and the day of judgment, God's eternal new kingdom. Well, let's look at a summary of this brief presentation. The Bible is an anthology of 66 books compiled by approximately 40 individuals over 1,500 years with but one author, the Creator God of the universe. The Bible is a factual book that begins with the creation of the world and moves through the fall of mankind through Adam into sin and separation from God. The rest of the Bible shows God making this problem right. All 66 of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, has a single unifying theme: God sending his own Son in Jesus to die on the cross and later rise from the dead. Entered into God's kingdom is by allegiance to Jesus the Messiah as King and Lord. Well, we will see you next time when we cover lesson 17 of Lessons in Discipleship, and our topic will be reconciliation. Well, that wraps up this presentation of Lessons in Discipleship. Thanks for coming and being a part. Until next time, keep following Jesus. He's worth it.